Hello everybody, yeah, welcome back to another video. I've been inspired to do this by quite a few people actually mailing me regarding the way I've wired some of the things on the layout. One of the questions I get asked a lot about is where are the track connectors? Well, the answer to that is quite simple. There are no track connectors. I hate track connectors. It's just another joint that can cause problems, wires pushed into them, etc, etc, and then of course you rely on it connecting to the track. No, not for me. No, the best thing to do is to solder to the rails. Now, I've been soldering all my life, so let's get down. So I'm pretty good at doing it, and if you can see what I've done, look there, by using a soldering iron which is really quite hot and a point on it, it is not hard to do that without actually burning the plastic or melting the plastic. It's easy to do. So that's how to do a good solder joint. I'll probably zoom in a bit more, just there as you can see. Then I simply drill a 1mm hole through the board, just there, and use something like about 18 gauge cable. It's a copper covered silver tinned wire again, and then I'm bringing the camera around, and then literally what I do underneath is, if we can see it underneath there, is just connect the wires to them, solder them to them. I've not even cut them up actually, but just solder them to there. Yeah, and it does the job great. No track connectors, so yeah, cool. Now, I've decided to call this video a few little layout tips. Now, these are my own little ideas anyway, and I'd like to think they might be useful to some other people out there. Okay, but what I want to tell you first is, when I built the layout, I did the very inner circle first, which is first radius of Super 4 track. Now, I had already collected quite a few of the point motors along with the track, and they were the first motors to wire up on the layout before I even actually fitted any of the later point motors, obviously the System 6 track point motors there. So now, bearing in mind I hadn't got one of those motors at this point in time, I basically just went straight away to the ones I'd collected for the Super 4 track, which is here. Yeah, you normally use those three awful plugs. I mean, they are dreadful plugs. I don't know why they're still using them these days as well. They're awful. I didn't want to use them, and I thought, no, I'm going to do this a better way. So what I did is, quite simply, we'll put the camera down for a minute. Okay, let's have a look what we're doing. Right, what I did is quite simply, okay, you can see that there are three. I get the angle again. There, blah, 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 blah. Where's my screwdriver gone? Oh no, disappeared. Oh, I've got it. Right, you can see the two little lugs here at the top. So it's hooked round those. So all I do is just gently lift that up, and then hopefully lift it off. Just push it up a little bit. Oh, it's not coming off. Okay, let's had it off a minute ago. Right, we'll try it gently, pulling it up that way. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I just had it off a minute ago. Oh no. Better. Strange, very tight that one. Okay, and there you can see that's the solenoid there, moves in and out. Now, what I did, because I didn't want to be using those awful plugs, I very carefully soldered three wires onto the three connections. I color-coded the wires, and the wire that I use is basically, well, very simply, it's an alarm cable, alarm wire. I just strip it out and take the strands out and use the three colours that I want, and yes, it's alarm cable. And I had this idea of doing this because I didn't want to use these plugs, and it's another joint less to worry about. So yeah, then obviously but again, you've got to be very careful you don't melt the plastic. But again, with a very hot iron, and you'd think a cooler iron would be right, but it's not. A hot iron does the joint much quicker, so you can get away from it quicker. So using a hot iron with a very fine point on it, solder three wires onto there, and I had them about 8 to 10 inches long. Yeah, so let's put that away for a minute. And as you can see, get rid of this again. You can see now what I'm referring to. There, look, and that's neat. No plugs, and then straight through the board here, obviously, and then wide up underneath. Now the funny part about this, I did all the Super 4 point motors, which is all the inside of the track. So we're talking about all these motors here, all of them, and that one right over there. I did all of those first before I even bought any point motors for the Series 6 track. As in there, obviously, and there, and there's a couple more over the back. Now, the thing is, I didn't know that these new point motors for the later track were going to actually come wired up exactly like I'd done to that. So basically, I've done something what they have done with the later motors. It's so much easier and it's less joints to worry about. Then I bring the wires through the board and under here, and hopefully you'll see that, and I've twisted them onto some more of the cables, which I'm here. This is a 4-core alarm cable, which I'm only using 3 of them anyway. And then I just put some shrink sleeving on them, solder them, shrink sleeve them, and yeah, then staple them to the wood, which you don't really have to do, but it just keeps them up out of the way. And yeah, works absolutely fantastic. A couple of other things you might find interesting and useful, and still referring to the motors for this Super 4 track, and particularly motors that are well, the second hand most of them are now, and they're a bit dried up and a little bit of a problem. I do 2 things with them. First of all, one is when you fit these to the point, they're always a bit of a pain in the bum. Sitting up like that, they'll tend to spring up in the air like so, if you can see what I'm doing. It just seems to want to pull it that way. So what I do with them is I drill, let me get my screwdriver again, I drill very carefully in the leg I'm not using a hole right just there, right in the middle. I drill a 1mm hole very carefully in there, and then put that back. As you can see there, I put a track pin in there very carefully using a flat-ended, it's flat on the end, punch very carefully on it like that, and then with a small hammer just tap it down carefully, and that holds them firm, very much like the 2 screws that's used in the later ones. But that works really well and holds them secure without them cocking up in the air all the time. The other thing is, especially seeing as most of them are old and used and almost certainly second hand, they can be a bit dried out and not very good at performing. Now what I use is this. That is silicone oil. You see that? Silicone oil. Now I think you can actually use something like Back to Black, but you'll need a spout on it like that. So you can use something like Back to Black, but believe me, change hands, get my hands right, believe me, all you do is you stick it up one of its holes like that, oh hang on, like that, and give it a good blast, and it soaks right through everything. Put that out of the way. It soaks right through. It's a silicone oil, so it's not conductive, it's not going to short, it's not going to give you electrical problems, and it just instantly just oozes through the whole thing everywhere, and they actually come back to life absolutely magnificently. So I'm trying to remember which switch I'm on. I think is it that one? Yes, look at that. They actually come back to life really, really good. Although it's making me have to lie now, look. Probably doing it a bit quick actually. Yes, doing it a bit too quick. There you go. Wicked. Yeah, look at that. And honestly, that silicone oil really does bring them back to life. And this now brings me to the last part of this video. Not so much a tip now, but answering some questions that's been asked by some people who've sent me mails. Curious about the black piece here on the start of the rise. Now the rise obviously goes around there, and of course it goes all the way up to the top, which you've seen on the other videos anyway. Now the thing is, I don't like the colour of it. Yes, it's the proper stuff for the Super 4 track, but it's not exactly what you call a well, authentic looking colour, I would say. So my dear friend Bob kindly sprayed the whole lot for me. Now the ones that I haven't put them up yet, they're all still boxed. We sprayed them all black, and at the same time, nobody, the Triang never made one to go right next to a point like that. Obviously, you know, it's going to stick out over here somewhere. You know, as originally it would be about there. Yeah. So what my friend Bob did, we took the radius, the angle, and simply cut that off. So the carriages will come round now without catching on it, of course. Yeah, and then he sprayed the whole lot in black, but I just haven't put them up yet. And also, we don't like the colour of the stands either. They look pretty naff as well, I would say. So yeah, so he's done those all in grey for me. So when I get round to doing it, I shall put all the new ones in grey for the rise, and then the black top all the way around. Yeah, it should look pretty cool. And once we've done that here, I've got enough of the track clips, you know, the side walls and everything. I've got enough of those to go right around the attic, probably twice. So I think we'll be spraying a lot more black and grey. But yeah, I think that looks a lot better anyway. Thanks for looking. Bye.